So to start, I guess, a little bit with about your story about growing up, as you put it in a speech recently, growing up Poe.
Yeah, Poe, not poor. P-O.
That's
could not afford the O-R.
Could not afford the O-R.
So we only had the Poe. And it was tough times. I'll tell you, I smile now, but I wasn't smiling then. I remember living with my grandparents, who were just a fantastic couple, married for 56 years. And grandfather's still with us. He's almost 93 this August, and grandmother died about 10 years ago, 12 years ago now. But moving in with them when I was like 7 or 8 years old, and like 1,050, almost 1,100 square feet, 2 bedrooms. My grandfather and grandmother had their bedroom, and me, my mother, and my brother shared the other room. And my aunt would come in to town sometimes, and she'd sleep on the couch. And so it was close quarters without any question. And we had one bathroom, which of course at that point didn't matter much, but looking back, I think it did. But it was hard times, but it was great times, because one of the things my grandmother did was she filled the house with love and discipline. My mother followed in that track.
And talk a little bit about your faith, if you would. So I was reading a Weekly Standard article, and they wrote that somebody had asked you to give the invocation at a policy meeting, which I thought was really interesting to have a senator do that. Does that happen often? That kind of thing. I mean, how does your faith translate up here in DC?
More often than you would think. In ways I wear my faith on my sleeves, but not necessarily by quoting chapter and verse. I hope to be just a consistent witness of the faithfulness of a risen Savior, which for me means being kind and courteous and respectful as often as possible. Sometimes I completely blow it without any question. Intentionally at times, actually, unfortunately. But for me, my faith is the foundation of who I am.
I hate to bring it up, and I'm sure you're sick of talking about it, but the subject of race seems to dominate a lot of people's minds in America. I guess the first question is, I'm sure you get asked it a lot. Do you get sick of talking about that? What it's like to be a black Republican?
Most people want to know what it was like to be a bald Republican. It's far more important than being a black Republican.
We got Rick Scott too.
It's only two. We're cousins. He's Scott. So we are coming all hues. I think it's our country's been fascinated about race since the existence of the country. Essentially, I mean, it's been a part of and parcel of who we are. So it would be silly of me to say that I'm sick and tired of talking about race. We're going to talk about race for the next 50 years as well.
And do you think that Republicans can make inroads with some black voters?
Absolutely.
How do you bring that message of entrepreneurship that resonated with you to the people in Charleston?
Go there. First thing is you got to be there.
Sure.
I think part of the challenge that we face as a party and in eliminating poverty in this country, or at least reducing it substantially, is we have to be present. We can't invite them where we are. That's just a failed policy or philosophy. We have to go where they are. And you can't just go during election years, and you can't just go when you need someone. You've got to go there for the right reasons, which is what can you do for them. Yeah. And it has to be a partnership. John did a great job of teaching me the necessity of looking in the mirror and blaming yourself. Part of the responsibility is first be credible before you become critical. That's so important. You have to first be credible before you can be critical. And so when we go into the areas where we want to critique the outcome, we have to first go to the area to build establish rapport, create credibility, and then uncover the problems and present solutions. If we do that, we'll win in any community. We have the right message, without any question. And the black community is, I think, one of the most conservative communities in the country. Right. And if we are around enough, people will learn to trust us with their votes. They already trust us on the issues. If you look at all the props, all the ballot initiatives, you'll find that very consistently the black community votes conservative on the issues, and then more consistently liberal with the votes on the person. That means that we have to overcome whatever the stigma currently exists in the black community in mass. And that's an opportunity as well as a responsibility.